Hey everyone, this is Kevin from Car Action Magazine. Hey, I'm sitting here working on my RC four-wheel drive cruiser, trying to finish it up for a review in a upcoming issue. And one of the things I'm working on right now is window trim, and it's something that I notice a lot of people don't do on their trucks. They spend a lot of time on the paint job or body work or things like that, and then they don't do things like putting window trimmer on their bodies and taking care of things like that to make it look a little more realistic. It's not really hard to do. It does take a little bit of time. I mean, I've been working on this, we'll say about maybe a half hour now, and it's just about ready to go. Very easy to do, like I said, but just takes a little time. But boy, the results in the end are totally worth it. You'll have a much better looking vehicle in the end. Basically, all you have to do is put tape around the window trim. Now, the flat sections, the sides and the top, you can see are pretty easy. They're flat already, so you don't have to do anything but run a piece of tape across them. I like to use tape from Parma or Tamiya to do it. And then in the corners, you can see where I took the tape and I put it in at an angle and I rub it down into the corner with my nail. And then I go ahead and just cut it with the X-Acto knife. Make sure you have a brand new blade on that X-Acto knife to make that happen, though, because it'll just pull and tear the tape and it won't work right. But once you have it done like I have here, you can go ahead and tape off the rest of the body or whatever you're working on. This cover here I'm working on. So I'll tape off the red on the bottom and red around the windows, anything that's not window trim, plus the roof. And I'm going to go ahead and spray it. Now, when you spray it, you have a couple different options. You can go ahead, and spray it with semi-gloss black. You can use an airbrush or a can of paint. If you use paint, be careful though, because you might actually get a rather large edge because it'll build up the paint a little bit too much depending on what paint you use. I like to use Tamiya paint because it lays down really thin and gives you a nice finish in the end. So you could do that, or you can use an airbrush like I'm going to do on this truck. I actually like the control you have, especially around the windows here. You don't want to have a lot of overspray or anything. Even though you are taping it off, there is still a chance for overspray. So, I like to minimize that by spraying with an airbrush, and it gives you, less paint to rub out if you have to, if you make a mistake, which sometimes happens. Or you can also just brush it on with a paintbrush, but the problem with that is it's going to take a lot longer to do, and you're going to find that you might have brush strokes in it. And you don't want to have that. That's not very realistic. All right, now I've actually done the paintwork on the trim. I've laid down all the semi-gloss black, and I'm ready to pull off the mask and kind of show you guys what I've got in the end. Again, if you make a mistake and get a little overspray or something doesn't come out right on the trim, don't worry, you can fix that. So far, everything's looking pretty good. Let's pull off another piece here. You can see the corners are pretty nice. And I have a nice clean edge on my tape line. Let's see here. Tape's being difficult, of course. See? You can tell you got a nice clean edge. Again, it didn't take long to do. Really, in the end, it's not that bad. Little time consuming, but worth it. And look how nice the trim is. I mean, got a little bit of a mess up there. You can see where the paint kind of doesn't line up. You could just put a little bit of tape along this edge and use a brush with a really fine tip. Clean up that if you really want to. But quite honestly, nobody's even going to notice if you don't see anything. So again, we got a nice clean edge along the top. And that's one window, and that's basically what you do to do your window trim and get it done nice. Now I have a nice clean window trim. Gives it a little bit more detail, makes it a little more scale.